Orders fell like axes, 26 in 10 cold days, no voice to halt their falling, no counsel to appraise. Steel and ink in shadows, foundations stripped and sealed, while hollow halls of power to silence slowly yield. A newborn thing named Doge was crowned with iron grin. It spoke of swift efficiency and cleansed with ruthless spin. Its hands were made of billionaires, its eyes of blackened glass, and every name it struck away became a silent mass. The guilty walked with pardons sweet, their hands still red with flame, as loyalty eclipsed the law, and justice lost its name. No gavel dared to challenge, no court could hold the thread, and so the halls of judgment sank beneath the tread. The workers vanished in a breath, 10,000 here, then more, a vacuum dressed as progress swept through every federal floor. The weather went unmeasured, the checks arrived too late, and doors that once gave aid were locked behind the gate. The neighbors answered tit for tat, their harvests turned to sand, the border's barter cracked and moaned beneath a shaking hand. What once was woven finely now tore from end to end, and hunger whispered louder than any law could mend. A vault of code was opened wide to anchor faith in dust, and tied the people's savings to a market none could trust. When chaos took the ledger, it sang a wicked song, and pensions turned to vapor as the tide grew strong. They crowned one tongue and silenced all the rest with smiles, the songs of many mothers banned from court and aisles. Unity, they called it, though it came with sharpened teeth, and buried half the nation in bitter disbelief. They shouted liberation and raised the tariff wall, their fists aloft, their mirrors blind to what would fall. The markets groaned like temples cracked by fire and snow, and friendly hands grew distant in the undertow. The courts cried foul, but none were heard above the din. The gavel turned to splinters, the bench to empty chairs, and justice wandered homeless through the shattered squares. Steel was taxed until it bent, and prices scraped the sky, and factories that once had sung were left to starve and die. They called it strength, they wore it like a crown of flame, while workers packed their bags in silence, lost to blame. More bodies culled from Doge, and cheers rose from the floor, a victory of emptiness, where aid was kept no more. The lines grew long, the phones were dead, the clinics bare, and crises bloomed like black roses in poisoned air. 200 billion vanished in the books, unmarked, unseen. Efficiency, they swore again, though none knew what it means. The numbers spun like vultures in a sky of ink and dread, and even those in power feared what lay ahead. The watchers lost their purpose, their lanterns dimmed to black. The auditors went silent as the wolves prepared attack. No gauge remained to measure risk, no thread to trace decay, and truth itself grew brittle, then quietly slipped away. A name emerged, a file released, and the masses leaned to hear. But fragments told a tale designed to steer and smear. Compassion was a costume stitched with careful thread, and every missing detail stank of secrets left for dead. One bill to bind them all, a monument to lies, tax cuts sewn with knives, relief in cruel disguise. The poor were stripped like copper pipes from crumbling walls, and health became a whisper lost in marble halls. Another voice, the girl who screamed, her words were shaped and pruned, while the rest was kept in darkness, where silence is immune. The people roared, the questions swelled beneath the dome, but none would answer truthfully inside that haunted home. The ports were clogged, the shelves ran bare, the costs became a noose, yet still they spoke of victory, their logic running loose. Retail died in silence, lawsuits struck the floor, and mothers cried in checkout lines that opened nevermore. The troops marched in with ice behind, their uniforms pristine, while children slept on concrete under lights too harsh, too clean. They said it was for safety, but the cages said much more, and federalism cracked again, then shattered at its core.